our signature question that we ask all of our guests.
This one is a fun question.
You know, your title, a lot of people probably reach out to you, requesting, messaging.
You get a lot of LinkedIn messages, a lot of unsolicited messages. What's a message that really annoys you?
And what is one that you're receptive to?
If you haven't been to my LinkedIn profile, it's very robust. I have lots of featured content. I use all of the bells and whistles that LinkedIn offers to share work that I've done, awards that I've been a part of, and the work that I've helped with my former clients and in my current role. And I put a lot of time and effort into that, right? Like I want people to see me, to know what I do, and to recognize me as special, because I like to think that I'm a special person. and it reflects well when people reach out and include some of that and mention like, hey, I love what you did. Like, this is a reason why I want to connect it with you. Or why I think that working with you would be relevant, because I've actually done some a minimal amount of research to see what you're about and what you care about. The messages that I don't like are the desperate ones, and the ones that assume things I tweeted about this the other day because I got one of these self-loathing messages where it was like, oh, you don't care about me, you haven't opened my message, and you must find me to be a terrible person. And I'm like, I get the tactic. I get that you want me to open this and be like, no, I'm here.
I'm like, yes, you are. You're the worst person.
But I'm at the same time like, no, it's really annoying, because like you actually clearly didn't look at what I do, what I care about, and what you're offering me also wasn't enticing. So it's not that I didn't see your message or want to reply. It's that you simply have the wrong person. I'm not Ian, the person with director in his title and growth marketing. I'm Ian, a director of growth marketing who is way more complex and it works at a queer-owned company and has goals of working with other diverse-owned companies and brands and achieving broader awareness and all of those things that often get missed when people reach out to me with random messages on LinkedIn.
I'm sure you get a lot of unsolicited messages on LinkedIn and email. What's a message that gets your attention, and what's one that you really dislike?
I dislike canned messages. I don't read them. If I can tell that they are copied and pasted, I delete them. Just because I feel that it's lazy. And LinkedIn is another way to build a connection, and you would never walk up to someone that you want to be friends with and just like robotically introduce yourself. At least I don't think so. So I hope not.
You haven't met people from Stirista, some of our
I mean, maybe not. But
so introverts say hi. No.
I just think using the online space as an excuse for like trying to connect with people at scale is silly. So I really love it when people say, I saw something that you did, or I noticed this article that I thought you might find interesting, or, something personal. And that I really appreciate.
I'll start off with the bad ones. And I'm a little bit, it's a little unfair, my answer, because of one thing. I run a meetup that looks like a business. So when people try to personalize and target me, they're often targeting me like, hey, get better corporate data for your SDRs to do your venture sales. I'm like, venture sales is a meetup. Like, it's not a business. So I'm in that kind of fringe bucket, and I get it. There's an 80-20 rule. If you're scraping information and you're compiling and personalizing, but I'm just in that outside bucket. So I get a lot of noise that's just completely unrelated because people think that my networking event is actually a business. The stuff that works on a couple of things. One, I've always appreciated when people, whether or not we end up hiring the candidate, but I've always appreciated when people reach out to you on LinkedIn when they're applying for a role. It just shows like a degree of dedication and interest in the company to reach out or, send a message related to something. The other one, this was actually an email. It was a cold email. Again, don't respond to a lot of them, but it worked out pretty well. There's a tool called Chili Piper. It just so happened that their SDR lucked out in that very moment. I was trying to figure out how to improve conversion on our schedule demo page. And the person had sent me a screenshot showing our booking widget, and it said, improve your conversion. And it was just, in that moment, it was super relevant to me. So we ended up actually using the tool, and we still use it today on our website.
The request to connect on LinkedIn, always send a note. I'm amazed at people who just blindly will send me a request. Even if we have someone in common, just send me a note to say that, hey, I wanted to connect with you because I know so-and-so, and she thought it would be good if we connect. Great. If I don't know you and you want to connect, just tell me why. I think that's so simple, right? I read them. I do, right? Because I'm not that big of a deal. I still read them all.
I like that.
But the ones you want to connect with are the ones who take the time to write a note, and even more so take the time to write a thoughtful note, right, as to why they'd like to connect. And same goes with messages. I don't know. I think I have what should I say? I have a real aversion to the drip campaigns that appear to be happening in LinkedIn, where I will actually respond and say, I'm not the right person to connect with you, but I can connect you to someone else. And then 4 hours later, I get another note from the same person that says they're bummed they haven't heard from me. So I think those start to feel tacky. So I guess I'd always say to someone, if you're going to be really heavily tech on your drip campaigns, be sure you check your inbox also, so that you don't have a funny extra note go out that doesn't make any sense at that point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I always get burned by the connections, and I look and I'm like, I think the rule of thumb is if I have like 50 connections in common and you don't send me a note, I will still connect.
Yep.
But as soon as you hit me with that first message, seconds later, that's it. I've learned how to remove the connection.
Are the really long, cold ones. At least if it's short and cold and I can eye scan, read it, and I don't have to scroll, I might read it and I might reply to it. Most of the time though, and this is maybe my message for cold LinkedIn people, cold outreach people on LinkedIn. Most of the time, if you're someone trying to sell something using LinkedIn to prospect, I am not the person you should be reaching out to, because all I'm going to do is tell you there's someone else on the team that you should be talking to, right? So, but I do look at everything I get via LinkedIn, but the ones that are really long, like paragraphs about why their company is the right thing, I'm just not going to read it because it's just too much. But the ones that normally get me are the ones that, say some connection to something that I actually have interest in. Although now I feel like maybe I'm going to get 10,000 of them saying oh, Baylor football did so great this year, which I know would be kind of a lie if they said that. So there you go. But yeah, I think it's don't put a novel in your message. Although I will say the real one that annoys me, because this has happened to me a couple times in the last week, is one where they send me a message and say that they have something that they think will be useful for a company that I don't actually work for. I don't work for that company. So I don't know where that happened, but I've been getting a lot more of whether it's mail merge errors or just sloppy, that's not actually, because we have a lot of brands that have competitors that have kind of similar names. So it's something that I'm sensitive to. Don't use the wrong brand name when you're talking to me, because that immediately is no, I can't. I'm a purist. I'm a brand purist. I got to protect the brand, right?
Yeah. I love it. We got two peeves today. I love it, AJ.
Yeah.
That's she's like, and another thing I don't like.
You asked about that, LinkedIn cold messages. Come on, everybody's got a list of 5 annoying things, right?
No, I know. I love it. And I like that it's our signature question. One of them we've asked 125 guests, and it's the long message. I like that. That's a new one. It's it's if you're going to be cold, short.
Brief.
I love that. Yeah, brief.
Be brief.
Be brief and cold. That's funny. And yeah, I love it. You're like, well, I didn't know you guys are going to get deep on this podcast. Yeah, we have the heavy hitting questions. You know why, Heather? Yeah. We're trying to get the message out there.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Stir podcast by Stirista. Please like, rate, and subscribe. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please email us at themarketingstir@stirista.com. And thanks for listening.